1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, made it.
Jive at 5. Harry Sweets Edison, trumpet player, wrote that. I was very fortunate to get to work with him.
Wow.
Yeah, and he used to come to London quite often. I worked with him there, and also once in Canada, in Toronto.
Fantastic.
I knew a lot of the old guys, like Benny Waters here.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me. You can just about see me there from years ago. Yeah, it's very, very fortunate to know a lot of those guys. And
Yeah,
of
it
course
must be amazing, I think, to meet those people. And
yeah, of course Stefan and Ulf Vakenius calls us the last of the Mohicans because he was with Oscar Peterson, so we knew all the old generation. We all worked with them, and worked with many people. So it's that's why it's important to kind of keep the music
an amazing
going.
Legacy as well, just to have done that.
It's like being a bridge, it's a bit of a time machine.
Yeah, it's kind of maybe a rite of passage as well, because you get to play with all these legends and but you're there with them, so
yeah,
it's
well,
pretty amazing.
It's one of the great things about playing when you're really young, and if you're fortunate enough to have that opportunity to play with those old legends, living at the time, to actually get to work with them, and then because you're kind of continuing that whole thing, and which brings me to something I was going to ask you, because I was given a number of tips over the years from some of the grand old masters, and I always like to ask every guitar guest on this for a top tip.
Okay.
And I'd like to know what would your, I'm sure you've got many, but just give us one top tip.
I think probably it's not everybody's favourite.
I know what this is going to be then.
Yeah, I know.
As soon as you said that.
It's not everybody's favourite. So the metronome, I think, is a good tip.
I knew you would say
So
that.
when I'm doing my workshops, I get the metronome out and there's just a huge groan from everybody because they don't like it. And actually what I do is I use it as a bit of an icebreaker. So say there's like 10, 15 people in a sort of semi-circle, and I just get everybody to do this with the metronome, and we see how far it goes before they're out with the metronome. And it's usually like 1 or 2 people, and of course then everybody gets a bit more nervous and it turns into a bit of a laugh, but the point being is that people realise that that's actually much more difficult than you think. So
like the think sing play I was talking about.
I learned the hard way. I learned in studios, because first time I went into the studio, it was like a country and western album, and it was one of those, just things like that. And the problem is that when you're in the house, you don't really realise that, you don't think, is the volume of my E string louder than the D or whatever. You don't think of any of that. But when you're in the studio and you've got a producer that's a bit nippy, let's say, they'll pull you up and they say, you're not playing exactly the same thing, or then you start to panic because you think, oh my god, I can't play. So I think I learned the sort of hard way that in a studio situation, playing something really simple is really difficult. So I sort of went back
under the microscope.
Under the microscope, and then also I have worked with a few difficult producers who will pick on anything at all.
You don't have to name names.
I'm not going to name names for legal reasons. No, some people that just every little thing, and I think I worked with a few of them early on, and I just went home and thought, right, I've got to sort that out. So that was one thing I worked on, which was just making sure that everything sounded even. The other thing I used to do all the time, a lot of my electric guitar work is, you get the work because you're really good at rhythm guitar, and that's it. You don't get the work because you're a fantastic lead player, ever. Well, very rarely anyway. They want you to be good at rhythm, and the Motown people I worked with especially, they're only interested in, are you a great rhythm guitar player? And all of that music is based around you just like being bang on time every time, and a lot of it you've got a big
That's the hardest thing to do. Slow offbeat.
So there's a huge big gap there, and
it seems to last forever.
It seems to last forever. And of course the other thing is as well, you've got a drummer and a bass player who also have to be comfortable playing extremely slowly. So with a metronome, I think you can mess around with that a little bit, and you can, like what a drummer might do in a click track is instead of just having like 1, 2 really slowly, they might have a boom, dum, dum, or whatever, and then that helps you to keep in, triplets or something to help keep you in time. So that was one thing I did. Also, just to work on, because a lot of the stuff I did was quite funky, because I worked with Kid Creole for a while, and his gig is like sort of funk central kind of thing, and just working on your time for funky rhythms, because I never learned any funky rhythms from tab or music or anything. I just made stuff up, because that's kind of what they want. They wanted to say, just play me something funky. So if you've got a metronome and you set it up, and then you play along with it, what I did as an exercise was see how far away from the beat I could get but still be part of it. So if it's like, say it's like a, so that'd be the basic beat with the metronome. That kind of thing. So in other words, almost like trying to put yourself off.
Yeah.
But what I found that was really good for is, as you know yourself, sometimes you're in a band that's not quite perfect. So if the bass or the drums are maybe not quite locking in, you need to have that same ability to manoeuvre between them to get it to work. And then if you've got a great bass player and drummer, you don't need to think. So it's all. But there's a lot of things that you do need to think about because not everything is spot on. So that's a good exercise. But also the same thing with the metronome. And that's just as difficult, I think. And then quite often you get somewhere it would modulate to A flat, and you're thinking, oh my god, because you've got no time to put a capo on.
If you're practicing with this though, you need to record yourself to listen back because you can fool yourself.
Exactly.